Halo teman-teman semua, cek. Em, Mungkin sebelum mulai, saya coba bantu kasih konteks sedikit dan introduce dari tim member saya. Jadi di sini nanti saya akan dibantu oleh rekan saya, Mbak Asya, ada di sebelah kiri. Mbak Asya itu strategic design research kita. Jadi nanti kalau misalkan lagi sharing gitu ya, terus teman-teman ada yang nggak enak mau nanya karena mungkin cukup technical, bisa approach Mbak Asya, terus nanti kita akan tampung pertanyaan-pertanyaannya. Jadi sebelum kita mulai, kita akan coba bahas sedikit terkait merging roles antara product development dan product design dan juga development team. Coba kita cek ya. Oke. Mungkin sebelum kita mulai, saya pengen coba kenalan dulu sama teman-teman di sini. Mungkin saya coba tanya sedikit ya. Ada berapa banyak nih designers di sini? Mungkin ada bisa angkat tangan. Oke, lumayan. Developers ada, teman-teman developers? Banyak. Teman-teman dari produk ada? Lumayan juga. Tim research, mungkin teman-teman yang bahasa ada nggak di sini? Oke. Founders, ada founders? Oke, nice. Jadi nanti mungkin hasil dari diskusi kita hari ini akan contribute juga in how kalian bisa set up your team for futures nantinya. Oke. Kita langsung mulai aja ya. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Jadi mungkin saya juga udah tadi sempat mention dari Six itu, mungkin sedikit kenalan juga dari kita sendiri. We are product design and research team. We help companies dari strategic dan juga bantu mereka untuk execute the actionable item from the strategy, and we work with them together. A few of our clients yang sempat kerja sama dengan kita for the past few years, dan a few recognition juga dari design community dan juga dari beberapa komunitas lainnya. Mungkin tadi saya sempat nanya dari teman-teman, ada berapa designers, ada berapa developers gitu ya. Saya mungkin cerita sedikit dari saya sendiri. Jadi saya mengawali karir saya di 2011 sebagai web designers dan juga front-end developers. Jadi ini role-nya juga udah cukup unik ya sebenarnya. At that time memang dari teknologi masih belum banyak mobile app. Jadi kita masih berfokus di desktop or even kayak POS system. Dan setelah itu berkembang menjadi visual dan product designers. Mungkin ada teman-teman dari designer marketing juga di sini. Saya sempat juga involved di visuals, the whole marketing dan juga product design at that time. Dan di 2014 itu sebenarnya smartphone udah mulai rata gitu ya di Indonesia terkait distribusinya. Di situ mulai banyak UX UI designers bermunculan. Dan dari situ skill setnya mungkin mulai menjurus ke dalam user experience. Jadi we're not talking about the looks anymore, we also talking about how it works gitu. Di 2016 saya juga balik lagi ke product design, tapi lebih spesifik ke the whole product. Jadi we're talking about offline experience dan juga online experience. 2018 saya mulai masuk ke dalam agency. Jadi spend 5 years di salah satu agency di Singapura to make sure to help from the design perspective. Until now, dari 2023 sampai sekarang, saya masih tetap di agency sebagai konsultan experience designers. Nah, ini yang menarik sekarang. Jadi kita mungkin melihat dari sisi teknologi udah cukup banyak a few tools yang membantu atau ngasih push gitu ya terkait shift ini. Jadi kalau kita lihat itu banyak designers yang udah mulai coding juga, mungkin istilahnya vibe coding gitu ya. Terus juga developer sudah mulai banyak mengerti terkait design. Tapi kita ada teknologi AI yang dimana mereka sebenarnya bisa doing both gitu, for example. Jadi kita pengen by the end of these sessions, teman-teman bisa back to the team dengan kayak a few framework dan juga structure yang bisa coba diimplementasikan. Tapi dari sisi shift ini kita coba lihat dari 3 angles. Pertama, teknologi. What happens with the current technologies? A lot of kayak tools, kayak no code, low codes, dan itu sebenarnya cukup memberikan sebuah push ya ke designers maupun developers untuk mengerti. For example, we have Figma Mac, we have framers yang udah mulai shift ke web builder gitu ya, contohnya. Dan dari bisnis sendiri, we're not talking about kayak having a lot of ideas gitu ya, kayak great ideas here and there. We also talking about kayak speed to market. Jadi kecepatan kita dalam kayak ngedeliver apa yang kita punya dari idea to execution is very important now. Dan juga dari sisi culture sendiri, dulu mungkin a few years back kita sering dengar kayak wah Agile, yang di sini Agile, company ini Agile gitu. Tapi kayaknya udah mulai pada paham nih Agile itu sebenarnya mindset gitu. Jadi how our team can learn and adapt in challenges gitu ke depannya. Jadi dari 3 push ini kita ngelihat sebenarnya ada opportunities dan juga tension. And I think from company perspective and also from leaders perspective, we have to know atau kita harus punya problem aware dulu, yang dimana kita acknowledge with that 3 angles tadi gitu ya, ada opportunities dan juga ada tension. Opportunities yang sebenarnya cukup valuable buat kita adalah dengan tools yang tadi udah mulai pada canggih, terus kayak mindset udah mulai berubah, kita ngejar speed to market. It means iteration cycle will be much more faster now. Everyone agree that we have to deliver fast gitu. Tapi dari potential tension sendiri, there's some concern probably from other team members. Let's say kayak mereka bingung, oh dengan kayak gue bisa ngerjain Figma Mac, gue ngerjain Framer gitu, am I still designers gitu? That will be a very interesting question because nanti kita akan bahas lagi secara detail. But I think we should acknowledge that. Nah, before we move to the framework, saya pengen coba lihat dari reflections current situation. Tadi saya sempat nanya beberapa developer, beberapa designers. Sebenarnya dari sisi estimasi, developers still a lot compared to designers now, which is makes sense. Karena common setup, let's say di satu company mereka punya 5 developers, 1 designers, and I think that's enough. Tapi there will be a stretch nantinya ke depannya saat timnya udah mulai besar. Dan kita juga nggak bisa lupain tadi yang saya sempat introduksi di depan, perubahan dari role designers itu very variatif. Jadi ada yang bilang visual designers, ada yang bilang product design, ada yang bilang UX design, ada UI design gitu. Jadi itu pun juga sebenarnya yang belum ada standar yang cukup bisa dipakai gitu ya datanya. But I think it's fine. Dan salah satu fun fact yang kita dapatkan juga, Indonesia itu salah satu kontribusi terbesar di GitHub developernya, which is very interesting. Jadi kalau lihat reflect ke kejadian sekarang, mulai muncul nih kayak roles yang sifatnya hybrid. Jadi mungkin teman-teman pada pernah dengar kayak front end designers. Oh, dia ngerjain front end apa dia ngedesain nih gitu, atau UI developers, kok dia ngerjain UI tapi dia ngedevelop gitu. But I think it's very important sebenarnya to acknowledge there's a few people dan mungkin a few companies require these specific roles gitu. Nah, kalau kita lihat dari proses product development proses kita sekarang, tadinya tuh kita bisa dibilang kayak estafet ya, mungkin desainnya udah kelar atau mungkin dari research kelar kasih ke desainer ngelarin, habis itu dikirim ke development. Kalau kita taruh sebagai analogi, it looks like we're doing estafet sebenarnya, jadi kayak pass the baton to one or another. Nah, kita ngelihat ke depannya itu mungkin shift-nya mulai berubah menjadi co-creation pods, dan kalau kita analogikan itu bisa kayak jazz band. Jadi kalau teman-teman familiar dengan musik jazz, itu masing-masing playernya punya role yang sangat penting to make sure the whole music aransemennya menarik gitu. Jadi gimana sih caranya kita bisa build potential future setup for our team? Because we see a lot of kayak hybrid roles dan teknologi yang udah mulai pada canggih gitu. Kalau di Six itu kita ngelihat dari 4 lensa. Jadi kita bilangnya 4 lens framework. This framework is very something that we use a lot and we implement in our teams in terms of how we set up both internal or external. Kita mulai breakdown dari common goal sebenarnya. Jadi kita mulai shift dari ini UI-nya bagus dan ini gua banget nih UI-nya gitu ya. Move it to common goal. What's your common goal? And then we think that the skill set is also very important for us. So for example, what the skills that the team have right now, for example. And then the tool set is one of the lens that we want to see. For example, the Figma make that the team can collaborate together also, or maybe Figma dev mode that the developer team can involve in there. And progress, how we track the tasks that we are working on. So for example, we are doing usability testing, we are doing it in one tools that can track the heat map and something that we can collaborate together from there. And then the learning sessions, how the cross-learning and also the sharing session can be more organic and natural. And for us, like as the leaders, I think looking at it from these 4 lenses is very important, and then always iterate that based on that. But let's break it down into like one each. So if we're talking about like the skill set specifically. So we are moving from like the classic horizontal skill set from designers that can only do designs for now. And we are trying to understand like what the other specialized skills that the team possess or want to learn in the next their career, for example. So we call it like a key shape development. So we try to map it out. We back to the first principle: what skills do you have, what you want to learn, and then how we can support that. And for examples like designers, now there's a few designers can also do HTML or CSS, for example. And there's a lot of designers that coming from computer science background, which is very interesting. So they have their own technical skills before even joining the design. And that's also the same for developers. The UI skills it can be embedded by the developer team itself, for example. And the tool set, I mentioned a lot about Figma, and also there's a few tools that can support the collaboration process between development and design team. So we look at it from the task specific. So let's say we are doing design system project, and then we're using Figma dev mode to collaborate between development and also design team. And then with that environment, the collaboration will be natural between development team and also design team when we invite the developer team into the design environment. And that also happens with Storybook. Most of my developer friends probably very aware about Storybooks, where we store all of the design system component into a code-based assets. And we can invite designers there. There's a lot of tools that can also support that collaborations. So tools is also very important. And then the step 3, how we track the progress. I mentioned a lot about the tasks and also the tools that can be used, but how to pick the tasks. So for us, like let's say we're doing usability testing. You can see it on the right side. Before the usability testing, a lot of people also involved from the planning, from the prototyping, and also for the synthesizing. So the planning designers also in charge in what to test and also what the goal of that test. And then from the synthesizing, we also share the report to the product team and to the designers team. And then you can see all of the heat map together and use that as a place where like we can collaborate together. And of course, there will be a challenge when it comes to who's doing what, right? Because we are doing one thing together. For us, like we try to keep it very clear in order to who's accountable for that and who's responsible. So we're doing the RESI framework internally. So we define who's executing it, who's making decision, who's to consult, for example, and who to inform. I can talk about this later in the examples. And the last steps, how we can make sure that there's learning sessions like between development and also designs, or probably other departments too. And one of the things that we implement at 62, we have a Friday slots for every department and every team member that can share what they want to share to the team members. And that's the place where like everyone can talk about like technicals, soft skills, and tools. So the sharing session and also the learnings can become like very natural because everyone join in that safe space, and we talk about like a lot of things that can improve the team members. So my friend Hasha will hand out some documents to the team member here. And so before like while Hasha hand out the paper, so before going to the exercise, I want to explain the things that we have in here. So I asked you before what's your role, and then we can start from there. Try to define like the common goal that you want to use. For us, let's say improving the checkout flow. And then what specialized skills that you want to learn, or probably you have it before, and then you want to add it to your specialist skill. And what's the depth? Do you know a lot about it, or is it a basic only? And what's the tool set that can support that skill set? So for example, let's say low code, and then you have intermediate skills for that. And then the tools that you use is probably framers. And then how you track the progress. I mentioned about the progress earlier. Let's say we have a UT insight sessions or review sessions, and then what the learning session that you want to share with the team members based on that skill set. So we're going back to the basics to understand and map out what the skill set that we have right now, because the future might be interesting for us in order to combine that. While everyone tried to fill in the skill set and also the thing in the paper about the depth and other stuff, let me explain about case studies on how we implement that using the framework that we hand out. So I will share two things from internal stuff and also from the external, how we prepare ourselves like in the future for the project. So for internal stuff, we have these very interesting projects where we want to turn all of the experience that the team possess right now into strategic assets. And we have 80 projects so far. So 62 been in the industry for almost 10 years. And then it becomes a challenge for us to understand like all of those 80 projects. It probably have a lot of interesting tips, learnings, and everything that we should avoid, everything that we should improve. And then how to find it is very hard, at least for now. And our challenge is that how we can turn that into strategic assets for the company, but also easy enough for them to navigate. So we call it the knowledge hub. And the project is actually to make sure we have a central place where all of us, like in the company, can access that, but it's also easy enough for them to find that information. And then in this project, because we are talking about roles, there's a lot of people that involved from different departments. So we have the HR people from there, we have the design team, we have the product team, and also we have the leaderships. And then the skill set that required for us to build this product is, of course, the product skills, design, research. We want to make sure that we want to build it's actually useful for the team, and also the development. So we try to experiment with the Google site, for example, how to turn all of those informations, put it in one place, use the Google sites, and then expand it from there. And actually now we are experimenting with the AI or LLM. One of our team members tried to push this into one place where everyone can ask something about the previous projects and then they can get results. And if we're talking about roles, because I mentioned that there's a few people involved in there, but we have to make sure we have common goals. So that's why the handout start with the common goal. So our common goal at that time is want to make sure that it's centralized, everyone can access it, and then it can help us to make a decision more faster. So let's say we are doing some project that is new for the new team members, and then they can access that past experience to make sure that they can make decision faster for the projects. And then how to support the business development team, for example, in order to provide like proven use case that we can use as part of our portfolios, and also to help the creative team to build stronger narrative. So all of that assets is there in one place that they can pull out. And our examples for the front-end setups, let's pick experienced designers here. In the Knowledge Hub project, our common goal is turning experience into strategic assets and easy enough to navigate. So the special skills that our designers have right now is that one, let's say front-end, and then the depth it's only basic. So this person can understand like how the Google Site infrastructure works, what the technical limitations, what the capabilities that they can provide, and then what's the review sessions look like in order for us to track the progress, and then what the learning session that these designers can turn like to the team members. So we have the prototype session where the designers can share like the information about the building of that site. And then let's look at it from like how we create end-to-end product development process setup to make sure our team is ready for future project. So we move from a traditional UX and design skill set. We try to move to the key shape mapping when the designers already have the end-to-end product design knowledge, and then they have development skills, only a basic, for example. They know how to provide strategy. They can also do research. They can do analysis. So it means when it comes to like product development stage, they can contribute to each other. So I'm not saying that designers can will do the research thing by themselves, or like developers can design by themselves. So it's more of a, like how do we set up distribute it naturally based on each stage of the product development process. So we started with the RESI framework. So you can see it from the left side, we have the RESI setup, and then we have the discovery, backlogs, PRD, design, validation, and development. And then each, you can see like a different roles plays. So for example, let's look at it for design perspective. We have experienced design that is responsible for that during the design stage. And who's accountable for that? Of course, let's say product design, the experience design. But we consult it with the product and also the strategic design, which is the research team. So everyone plays a role in each stage. But we also inform the developer team and also the leadership in terms of like what we build in the design process. So if we look at it from the framework perspective, again, we try to divide it based on the goals, the 4 goals that we want to achieve. We want to make sure that there's a shared ownership, so it's not siloed. Everyone knows what they're doing. And there's faster alignment between design, development, and product. Because if you go back to the whole RESI framework and also the stages of the product development, everyone actually inform and understand what their roles on each stage. And then how to make sure that we make decision based on the data, and how to make sure the transition from discovery to design to validation and development is smooth. So that's our goal. And then if we simplify it, we want to make sure that we have to create a continuous and also collaborative loop within that team. So if you look at it like from the product manager, for example, Let's say our product managers can do research, and then the skill set for the research is intermediate. So the team can onboard the product managers to that, and then the tool set that the team use is Google Docs, Google Sheets, or Slides, for example. And then how we track the progress is actually from the research planning, execution, and the report. And the learning session will be the synthesis. So I want to ask everyone here, based on the paper that we assigned before, is there anything that you concerned about, or like you miss, or can you fill in the paper? Is everyone okay with the paper, or is there any question? We can talk about the Q&A later. So what happens to the existing role distributions? We look at it from the reality perspective. The existing roles distributions, it still makes sense because some companies require a unique skill set. So for example, have you heard about competitive intelligence analysts? So it's very specific skills, and then very specific roles. Only big corporate or big company provide that, and it's still needed. So it's still relevant for them. So the things that we mentioned about the key shape and also the new setup or the potential hybrids, it works probably on a different setup, but we also look it back from what our company needs for now. So what we want is actually when everyone from here, like designers, developers, product, research, and also the leadership team, when you go back to your teams and then try to implement like this framework, we want you to pick one resource to test, and then one metrics or shared goals that you want to implement, and then you can start from there and then track the progress. So what we want is not to add more work or like push to impossibility, for example, but we want to make sure that we give them enough knowledge, enough place, or enough skill set that can help them to set up their career like in the future, and then how to be ready when it comes. We are about to at the end of the presentations. Is there any question from the team members or?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Kosmas. I will be Akvis Bahasa. Jadi tadi kan dipilah-pilah ya, mana yang benar-benar satu orang punya deep, kemudian ada lagi nanti yang kurang dan segala macam. Dari perspektif kita sebagai product owner, that's very good. Tapi kita akan lihat dari perspektif human capital ya saat ini. Bagaimana membalancing itu supaya tim tidak lelah. Berarti kan dia gampangnya kayak role of three. Satu orang bisa punya banyak role tapi dia tidak deep. Tentu itu akan increase dia punya overwhelm, lelah, akhirnya dia resign. How you can manage it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mas. I think that's a good question. Let me use this as an example. Jadi mungkin kalau kita lihat dari sisi load gitu ya, from load perspective, RESI is actually very useful in order to make sure that they don't feel overwhelmed. So if you look at this framework, there's designers in almost each stage, but the responsibility is different, the load is different. So let's say untuk bagian validations, we have the strategic design, the product and experience design team, but the one who's accountable to make the decisions is actually one person. So the responsible, it's more of a like a contributor yang bisa kerja bareng, execute bareng, but it needs one person to make decision. And then consulted, itu juga product design, experience designers bisa menjadi someone yang consult. Jadi mungkin kalau bicara execution wise, mereka nggak execute di situ. Mereka sebagai mungkin subject matter expertnya, let's say gitu ya. Jadi sebenarnya it's not about kayak putting a lot of work to them, it's more about like how we distribute it based on the stage dari product development processnya.
tes. Mungkin sedikit tambahan. Kalau dalam paper is very good, tapi bagaimana ketika masuk ke dalam people, dia akan punya mindset bahwa lah kayaknya ini gue semua gitu. How you can manage the people mindset supaya kita bisa mengemas bahwa sebenarnya ini nggak lo semua gitu.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's a good follow-up questions. Jadi memang di sini kita simplified dari department perspective or discipline perspective. But in real case scenario ini ditranslate menjadi sebuah task. Jadi let's say sintesis gitu ya tasknya. Jadi di task sintesis itu si RACI framework juga udah kita assign. Jadi who's responsible, who's accountable. Jadi dari situ sebenarnya pembagiannya udah cukup clear dari mereka. Jadi task itu akan ngebantu dia ngelihat dia tuh R-nya di mana ya gitu. Berapa banyak R-nya. And if that one person contribute to a lot of R, it means nggak healthy berarti kan. Mungkin dia bisa diganti dengan role lain. Let's say that person can be consulted. Thank you, Mas. Is there any other questions from the audience? Yeah.
Hello. I have a question about the common goal and whether or not there is a process within each company that needs to be set up in order to select a common goal that works both for the company and one that maybe also drives motivation within the team. Because I think, like, let's say in a product lens, maybe we want to increase revenue for the company, which may be a primary metric, right? It's the bottom line. Or do you more so look at into setting more either secondary, maybe even tertiary common goals? Maybe it helps influence revenue, but it's not directly tied with that. So I guess it's more so, if we're talking about common goal, are they usually business metrics or something else? And is there a process set around selecting this common goal?
Yeah, thank you. So the common goal should be something that everyone agreed on, right? That I think that's the first principle. That contribute to the business and also that contribute to the whole user's perspective. And then the common goal that we mentioned here, let's say we are doing e-commerce setup, for example, and then one of our goals is retention, or probably improving the checkout flow. And let's say from that common goal, the checkout flow, how we break it down into like a few things that other team members can contribute based on their skill set. And for developers, probably they knows like what to make sure the sprint velocity is in a healthy state, let's say. And for the product, to make sure that the bridge between like the business and the user is there. And from the research to knows like what the strategic research or approach that fit in with the current timeline. And then design can also like understand what's the current performance or previous performance. So everyone contribute to that, and then to make sure that common goal, it's shared ownership. So it's not something that like waterfall to them. So it should be like discussed together.
Yeah, just one quick follow-up. So you mentioned how even product development is moving away from waterfall processes. What's your opinion and what are your thoughts in including engineers within the product discovery phase, and how does that look like?
Yeah, very good questions. So for us, like if we look at it from this setup for the end-to-end product development process, engineers play a role in the early stage, but only for inform. And then you can assign only one person as a PIC, let's say the lead engineers, right? Lead front end or lead back end. And then that person can understand like, what the potential backlog look like, and then they can prepare the team to make sure that who's doing what is clear based on their skill set or experience. And then moving to PRD, the developer team also inform. So I think there's a good side on getting more transparency, what to build, and then they knows what to prepare, and then based on their like they knows how to execute it better.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you. So from this table, based on your experiences, is it always be like this linear, especially on the design phase and development phase? Is it always design first and validation first and then development? Is there any way or any case that designing and development is happen at the same time, or like intersection time, and which one is better in your opinion?
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's a good question. That's actually touching the subject that we discussed earlier about the merging role. The skill set where like the designers can do code or developers can do design, for example. And I think like in a healthy process of product development stage, of course we want to make sure we know what to build first, right? And then we have the design ready, and then we also involve everyone in that process, and then we develop it. But for some cases, let's say we have that luxury of team member that can do design and also can do code, for example, that person can help to speed up the process a little bit in order for experimentation. But it's also something very, how to say it? I think we have to keep an eye on that, because we don't want to disrupt like the whole squads or process, right, in the current organizations. Maybe like that person more valuable in the experimentation side, let's say, that requires a lot of iteration cycles. And then we are talking about like the experimentation, probably the process will be different or shorter compared to this. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah, I think that's it from us, actually. We want to make sure that this framework is something that everyone can reflect and also implement for the team. And we don't want to create like a silo teams, right? We want to make sure that everyone share their ownership and responsibility and knows how to achieve that common goal. And if anyone wants to download like the materials that we presented before, you can scan the QR code below. I think that's it from us. And then if there's any question, feel free to reach out after this session. Thank you.